Back working on this Mazda again. Issue I was having was P2004 intake runner control valve, the one in the back there, the one in the back here, saying it was stuck open. First I forgot that it even had a plug in it, and the plug was just sitting down there not connected. So once I realized how stupid I was, I ran these wires, extended them, ran them up top so I could reach to this sensor here. Trying to get it to work. Hopefully that would go away. Well, it didn't, and I figured out why. Obviously they had to go ahead and change. As you can see here, this is the voltage that it would run, open and close right here, you know, with at that condition. That's how it runs. Whereas this one, you're gonna have 5 volts ground in the center, and then 12 volts on the end, and then once you open it, it grounds out the 12 volt, and that's how it tells it whether it's open or closed. So what the voltage difference is, it can't tell whether or not it's open or not. So we do have to retrofit this on there. I've already got the screws out of this, so let me go ahead and pull this vacuum hose off, and then let me grab a screwdriver right quick. I gotta pop that. Need to pop that off of the arm there. There goes the sensors out. Go ahead and pick that up, I guess, before I drop it. Not that I need it. You'll notice there's a difference between this arm and the other arm. Is the other arm is solid in the center, where you can see this one has the shaft sticking out of it, which sticks into the sensor to tell it when it's open or closed. So we're gonna have to change this white arm over right here, as well as the whole actuator, since the voltages are different. And I definitely need a different screwdriver to pop that off. This baby ought to work. Oh, there it goes. Pull this actuator out. Now you can see the difference in throw. See, this one's a little longer than the other one, but also this arm sticks out further, so if you change the arm over, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same throw. It's not going to, because the other arm is going to be shorter, so you'll still get, should still get the full resolution of the swing for the runner controls. You can just go ahead and pull this out like that. There you go. Just pops out. And you see this shaft here sticks out where the other one doesn't. So I'm thinking, let's see, where's my this because of how this sits right here, and you can see how that shaft right here is sticking out. It's most likely going to hit this right here. So what we're going to have to do is cut the tip of that shaft off. Should be pretty easy. Let me go find a tool for the job right quick. I'll be right back. Okay, here's your two actuator rods. This is obviously the one that we pulled out of the 2.5. See, it's longer. And it is drilled all the way through. Can't use that one. We're going to use this one from the 2.3. As you can see, it is not drilled all the way through. Square in the back of it. The hole isn't filled. So what we're going to have to do is drill this hole out so that the rod can poke through. But the rod that goes through the intake manifold, as you can see, or maybe not, is too long. Let me get a good shot. You can see it sticking out. Now I've pulled this one out already a little bit. So what we're going to do is cut that tip off. Make sure it's flat so on all four sides, so that this thing can slide over it. After we cut the tip off, we're going to drill this hole open. Not too far. You don't want to ruin your square. Still got to be able to control it. And then we're going to, after we cut the tip off of this metal rod, we're going to push it back into the hole, since I pulled it out a small smidgen. And then we can put our arm on, and then we got to cut the locating tabs off of here. Boop. These two. And probably this one too. I haven't lined it up yet, but probably I have to cut them all off. And then we can bolt this on and plug this in, and that'll take care of the only check engine light that this swap has given me so far. We'll be good to go. So I'm going to use, where'd my tool go? Well, you could probably use a hacksaw blade to cut this thing off, but I'm going to use this. I'm going to grind the tip off of it, and then I'm going to file the squares back straight, because that's what I got right now. I can't find my hacksaw blade. And then I'm going to drill the hole out in the actuator arm, and then I'll insert it. So I'm going to cut this off, get the squares flat, and I'll be right back. Right quick, make sure you stuff a rag in there, so you don't want any metal shavings in there. And I can't find my spray bottle, but you know, as you're cutting this rod, it's going to get hot, and you don't want it to melt the plastic bore that it's in. So I can't find my spray bottle, so I'm just using a wet rag to cool it off every once in a while. Definitely don't want that thing getting too hot. Alright, as you can see, I got it filed down pretty good. It's definitely inset now. It's not sticking out. Let's see if I can get the camera under control here. Yeah, upper look. Right here, as you can see, it's definitely back in there. Camera focus, please. Yep. No longer sticking out, so I'm just gonna go ahead and file the edges down, make sure there's no sharp edges on it, and should be good to go to stick the arm on. And I'll have to drill the arm out first, of course, like I said. So I'm gonna file those down and drill, and then I'll be back and drilling the hole out in the arm. Alright, as you can see, I got those edges filed down. If you're going to file these edges down, just be sure that you don't put too much pressure on it as you're filing, because remember, it is inserted into just plastic. You don't want to bend that rod or wobble the plastic out or anything. So now we're going to go to our actuator arm, and we're going to drill this center out so that that arm can go all the way through. So we want to make sure that we push this rod back in first too, since we pulled it out to cut it. Probably need something besides my finger to push it. Okay, so I got a little 3-inch extension and pushed it back in. As you can see, it is recessed in there now instead of sticking out. We're just gonna go ahead and grab it here with these pliers and make sure that we still got good rotation. We didn't push it back in far enough. Still moves freely. It's not jammed or anything. So should be good to go. Now we're gonna find a drill bit to drill out the center of this arm. See what we got over here. Alright, I found a 3/16 drill bit, which in metric term is I think slightly smaller than 5mm, very close to it. Fits perfectly in the center. I'm just going to go ahead and, now we don't want to drill all the way through, we just want to drill enough to open the hole. So you just want to drill a little bit and check. Drill a little bit. Don't put too much force. Check again. Drill a little bit. Check. Remember, we need to use this. We don't want to go all the way through the hole and ruin the square. Pop that back in there. Check again. Drill a little bit more. Whoop. Started to grab, so I think we're all the way through the hole. Yeah, I can start to see it in daylight. See? So we're just gonna lightly drill to clean out these shavings that are still stuck to the side a little bit. Drilling in reverse. Kind of catch them off and drill a little bit forward. Empty it out. See, we're almost there. Clean it out one more time. Well, I should be able to just pick that out. I'm gonna just give it a slight drill like that. Whoa, that should be enough to take care of that. Oh yeah, there you go. Nice clean. Little burrs there. Should be an issue. Then we should be able to just press that on this shaft here. Make sure we know what position we're sticking this baby in. So that's closed right there. There we go. We should be able to just push that down in there like that. Look at that. Push down in nicely. Doesn't stick out of the hole, so we should be good. You want to make sure you got nice smooth movement here. Try not to push it in too far. You still want it to be able to move freely. You don't want it to bind up. Give it a little more tug outwards. Make sure. Very smooth, very little resistance, not chattery, not loose, but smooth. So that's the actuator modded. So now all we got to do is get our actuator, wherever I set that down at, again. We got our valve here. We're just going to grind these little locating pins off of it. We don't need those. That one's gone. Alright, so here you see all the locator pins are cut off. Next thing I'm going to do is, so I can use this one here, because I just test fitted it and I'm pretty sure it's going to line up with the other hole. We're going to drill this hole out right here so we can use that as a screw, because this one doesn't line up, but these two bottom ones do. So we're going to put a screw in here and here. Alright, got that drilled out. Used the same 3/16 drill bit that we used to drill the arm out. Now we're going to mount this to the car using these two bottom screws. This one over here and that one down there. As you can see, that one there and that one. Alright, she's on, good and tight. Did not use this top bolt. I believe if you look at this info on one of the Mazda forums, search for it, called the Tonyguns experience, where I initially saw this. Well, I didn't see any pictures there because I couldn't find any. But that's where I read about swapping this over. Not sure if I would have figured this out on my own or not. Probably, since I still had the code and I had to figure out some way to retrofit it. But credit where credit is due, I did read about modifying this on the Tony Guns forum post. So, you know, you can check that out for more information. But he did use this upper hole. He stuck a screw down in here, and I think he filled in the rest of the area after he stuck in the screw. Just kind of wedged it in there with like a quick steel or something like that. But I believe with this and the other bolt there, this thing is on there pretty good. The arm moves just fine. So it was originally only mounted with these two screws. Now it's mounted with the bottom two, and I think it should be fine. And we got plenty of movement. So then all you gotta do is hook your vacuum hose back up and plug it back in, and that will take care of your P2004 code variable intake runner control valve stuck open after your Mazda 2.5 swap. And then the car should run fairly well without any issues and any check engine light. I do have a little bit of a bump. I'm not sure if it's a misfire yet, maybe from the old coils, but as I'm driving it and I'm cruising, I can kind of feel what I would consider to be sort of a buck, and it kind of don't really feel it when I'm heavy on the throttle, like wide open or something like that, but I do feel it while I'm cruising every once in a while. I can feel it kind of kick back, and while, you know, when I get into the throttle a little bit just to accelerate. It's not all the time, but I can definitely feel it's there. Unfortunately, Ford didn't give Mazda their power balance, so it's hard to tell. I did check through global mode 6. Any generic scanner can check your generic OBD systems, and if you go in mode 6, which is going to be the dollar symbol S looking thing, 06. Your generic scanner under the functions, you should be able to get to it, and you can look at the misfire counters for each cylinder. Didn't really have any. I only had like 1 or 2 for each cylinder. I don't know if those clear themselves or how long a drive that's been on, but I didn't really have any misfires for that. The only other thing I think maybe it could be is that the crankshaft position sensor is slotted, and there is an alignment tool for that, which I didn't use. I just kind of stuck it back on there. I don't have any codes, no correlation issues or anything like that. So that may be good, and I'm not sure what the surge is, but I may play around with adjusting that sensor to try and get rid of that. But yeah, this was the only engine code that I had after I got done my swap. So this should fix that. It's going to have the original actuator. It's going to have the full throw on it. It should act and run just like normal now. Maybe that'll get rid of the little bug I was feeling. I'm not sure. If they were, if the tumble valves were stuck in some way they weren't supposed to, even though it could control it. I used my scanner to turn it on and off, which I may show you here in a second once I get all this back together to verify that it does move by the computer and all. But maybe with the code it was making it act funny or something. I don't know. But this should fix that code, and you won't have any check engine light at all with your 2.5 swap. So I'm going to put this back together and crank it up, and then I'll get the scanner and test the on-off and make sure that it moves properly under vacuum, and I'll show you that too, so hold on. Alright, got everything back together, everything's plugged up, everything's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think my key is still on. No, turn the key on, clear my check engine light, which it won't come back even if there was a problem for a couple of drives. But I'm going to go ahead and clear it out since I'm done with this process. And then let me just go ahead and take this over here. We're going to look at the actuator as we activate it on and off with the engine running. And you'll see that it's got good movement. Let's see. We can get a good view here. As you can see, it is activated as it should be. I'm gonna go turn it off. It should switch back. There you go. Now turn it back on. There you go. See? Perfect movement. So this works just fine. Didn't need that third screw. I did look back through the Tony Guns thread, and he does use all 3 screws. I didn't use a top screw. I didn't really want to mess with putting a bunch of putty in there, and it already seemed like it would push it on the angle some. I really didn't want to have that arm, pushing sideways. So I want to make sure, since it's got to go sideways some anyways when you do that, it probably wouldn't be an issue. I just didn't want to do it. So yeah, everything's working good now. The one thing I don't think I've seen mentioned, maybe I just missed it, I didn't see it in the Tony Guns thread or in some of the other threads, is what people do with these solenoids that control those. Obviously, as you can see, I just stuck mine here. I did have them stuck here, but I couldn't use my cover because that would make it pop up. Even though the cover don't fit here, because it's supposed to be over here on the 2.3 manifold. As you see here, they're further out instead of over here. You could probably cut this and plastic weld them on there to use all points of it. But I just lowered these, tied this one here and tied this one here. You know, run the vacuum lines like they should. And then my cover still fits here. And covers everything up just fine. And you know, it covers these up just fine. They don't hold the cover up. The cover sits on there. It doesn't look bad. Doesn't vibrate a lot. So everything's good. But yeah, that should take care of your flashing my eyes. That should take care of your 2.5 swap without issue, without codes, running smooth. I don't get a lot of cabin vibration. I know some people did. I did replace that mount, this one here. I didn't replace the whole thing. You can just buy that insert, and they got little tabs that hold it on the bottom. You bend them out, and that insert comes out, and you slide the new one in, and then you bend it back around it. It was kind of a pain to get it to bend right, but it did work, and I don't really have a lot of vibration in the cab as I'm driving it. Mostly from, I think, the tires imbalance is where vibration I get around 70, 80. Nothing to do with the engine really though. Feels pretty smooth. It's really a great running car, great running engine. It's a great swap to do. Saves you a lot of money versus buying a Mazda. From what I hear, people have oil leak issues with the 2.3. I've never really had one for an extended period of time. This is really the only Mazda 3 I've owned. Besides the other two that I bought from Copart. But it's really a good swap. You know, if your 2.3 goes out, I would definitely drop this 2.5 in without hesitation. Really a good engine, really a good swap, and can't beat the price. So, I know some people were using 2.5 injectors after they did the swap and keeping them because they didn't think the 2.3. I've heard it both ways. You know, people use the 2.3 injectors and they ran rich or lean or whatever at idle or cruising, and people use the 2.5 and they ran rich at some certain point or whatever. Well, I use the 2.3 because obviously the computer's programmed for the 2.3. And I know this is getting lengthy already. I'm trying to keep my videos shorter than, you know, whatever, I guess my normal 20-30 minute videos, because I know y'all don't like to watch that much. But I do try and give people as much information as I can. I'm going to make another short video about why the 2.3 injectors do work, and I'm going to give you proof that they do work without issue. And that'll be coming up, so just stay tuned, and I'll have that posted after this video. Thanks.